My fellow Creoles and Sierra Leoneans all. My name is Dr. Prince Hycy Ibidun Bull, a Creole born and raised in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I'm proud to say me na Creole boy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to speak to you on this auspicious occasion as we celebrate the Krio Descendant Union, to engage your thoughts in an intellectual discourse that is on the far end of the spectrum of the goals of KDU. I am speaking from North Carolina, the home of Thomas Peters, the great civil rights leader whose leadership has brought us full circle to his home state some 232 years after he left for Freetown. I would like to take this opportunity to thank KDU Global in the United States for extending an invitation to me to speak on this great day as Creoles and descendants of Creoles from around the globe convene to celebrate the footprints of the past, the footprints of the present, and the footprints of the future. The emphasis of my discourse is on the footprints of the future for the Krio Nation. When I think of what the future footprints look like for the Creoles, Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities comes to mind as an apt metaphor. So let us revisit and refresh our thoughts on Dickens' famous opening sentence. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We are all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. Many times I've asked myself, what would happen if Thomas Peters, Granville Sharp, Ajayi Crowther, William Wilberforce, Acuna Wallace Johnson, and others would rise up and see what has happened to the Krio Nation? What would they see? And what would they say to us all Creoles? They would see that the Creoles residing in cities in the United States of America, Europe, Canada, and other developed countries live quite a different life from those Creoles in Freetown. For us Creoles in the United States of America, Europe, and Canada, we live in the city Dickens paints as the best of times, the age of wisdom, the epoch of belief, the season of light, the spring of hope. We have everything before us. We look like we're going directly to heaven because what we experience feels like heaven. On the other hand, my brothers and sisters, Thomas Peters, Granville Sharp, Ajayi Crowther, William Wilberforce, Acuna Wallace Johnson, and others will see that the Creoles in Freetown live in a city Dickens sees as the worst of times, the age of foolishness, the epoch of incredulity, the season of darkness, the winter of despair. They have nothing before them. Probably the group in Freetown feels like they are all going direct the other way to hell, for this is what they experience every day. As Creoles, is this the legacy we want to leave behind? What are we doing for those who live in this other city, Freetown? First, I must thank Mrs. Cassandra Gaba for a vision to uphold the culture and heritage of the Krio Nation. Thank you, Mama Gaba, for your vision. Also, I want to thank all the various branches of KDU for keeping the spring of hope alive for our brothers and sisters who are living in the winter of despair in Freetown, Sierra Leone. My fellow Creoles, discourse on culture and heritage is not sufficient to change the worst of times for our brothers and sisters who are suffering under a politically inept and rogue system. But before I cast aspersions on those in authority in Sierra Leone, my question to you, experiencing the best of times in Europe, in the United States of America and Canada and beyond, what have you done to inspire, to change or to impact the lives of your fellow Creole brothers and sisters who are experiencing the worst of times, the age of foolishness, the epoch of incredulity, the season of darkness, and the winter of despair? What have you done? What would you tell Thomas Peters today about the utopia he created? What have you done? What would you tell Granville Sharp about his paradise, Freetown? When was the last time you visited Freetown to see how the generations of Thomas Peters and those of Edward Jones have been treated? As the osmosis of the Creoles continues into mainstream tribes, those who stand as Creoles have been marginalized, ostracized, and politically subdued. As you planned your trip to come to this great convention, what was your goal to help those in Freetown? What do you plan to achieve from this trip? What do you think we will achieve this time that will help our brothers and sisters in Freetown? It is sad, but the answer is nothing. Nothing, I mean nothing. Let me tell you what I think are some of the goals for most Creoles convening to Freetown and around the world on special KDU events. We are here to show what we have achieved in the best of times. We are going to show how good we look through this period, which is a benefit of the best of times. We are going to see friends and relatives we have not seen in years. Yes, these are great reunions. Oh yes, we are going to talk about Granville Sharp, William Wilberforce, Thomas Peters, and Freetown the colony. Better yet, we're going to reminisce how we cook Saturday soup and fufu, Sunday fry soup, a culture and practice that is gradually dying, if not dead, in Sierra Leone. You see, as Creoles, we glorify the footprints of the past because it validates and provides a sense of success, elitism, and a false sense of empowerment in a climate where we, the Creoles, are marginalized in many ways. And it is for this reason I say to you, Creole lives matter in Sierra Leone. And I repeat it, Creole lives matter in Sierra Leone. However, we are quick to find the one notable of famous family members along a very long ancestral tree and cling to it. We are quick to introduce ourselves with qualifiers. Minaden Coker, Decker, Jones, or Thomas from Hastings, Sussex, or Wilberforce. Others validate themselves by their family names. This is all fine. But this, in my opinion, is okay if and only if, as Creoles, we have a plan for the footprints of the present and for the footprints of the future. We need a concrete plan to save the Athens of Africa our ancestors created. As for the worst of times for our sisters and brothers in Freetown, we Creoles tend to blame all others but ourselves for our plight. And this must stop. We Creoles must take full responsibility for building the greatest country in Africa and for allowing it to fall into decadence. And now we must galvanize the awesome Krio Nation to rebuild it to its once preeminence for our generations to come. As for our future footprints, some of us are content with the best of times in America, Europe, and Canada. As long as we can wear our tuxedos and evening dresses once a year to a Krio descendant event to validate our Krio existence or our Krio-ness. Is this who we are or have become? I don't want to think so. No, I disagree. This is not who we are. My fellow Creoles, gone are the days when chance like serendipity would reverse the plights of Creoles in Freetown without political involvement. As Creoles, we must be intentional. As we look back and see the giant footsteps of our ancestors, look down and see our awesome footprints of change, and look ahead and see the Krio prosperity footprints of hope. We must be intentional as to the direction of the Krio Nation. We do not have rich or poor Creoles, educated or illiterate Creoles, Creoles from Hastings, Waterloo, Sussex, Regent, Wilberforce. What we have is one Krio Nation, and it is for this reason I say to you again that Krio lives matter, and Krio lives matter in Sierra Leone. I guess you wonder where I'm taking you with my discourse. Well, the structure that is marginalizing Creoles in Freetown, Sierra Leone is a political structure. Therefore, the only way the Creoles will be heard or be able to change the path for those we left behind is through a very strong political voice. If the change that we expect is created by a political structure, then my brothers and sisters as Creoles, we need to be politicized. For too long, we have left the politics of Sierra Leone in the hands of others and expect them to be kind, loving, generous, and gracious to us. My fellow Creoles, to affect change, you must be part of the change. You cannot affect the rigid and inept political structures in Sierra Leone by convening in the United States, London, and probably in Freetown to just discuss culture, heritage, Saturday soup, and Thomas Peters. That, I assure you, will not work. That, I assure you, will not get you what you want. I'm sorry, this will not work. Now I want you to take you on a journey. I want you to close your eyes and follow me through this journey. Let me take you back to 1783 in Wilmington, North Carolina, about a 2-hour drive from the location I am speaking from now in Durham, North Carolina. When in a convention like this, but in a very dark room in the woods on a very cold, rainy winter night, Thomas Peters, the great civil rights leader, got up, looked at all his fellow freed slaves and said to them, "My people, the time has come to go home where we belong. The time has come for us to go back to build a strong nation. A nation of priests, teachers, lawyers, doctors, engineers, scientists, judges, businessmen and women, and hard-working, respectable and honest men and women. A nation free from nepotism, injustice, and with an educational system that prepares the future of the Krio Nation." I can imagine that as he completed his speech, with excitement, rousing applause, and hope for their descendants now assembled in this room in 2015, in unison, they sang the liberation song of our ancestors. Home again, when shall I see my home? When shall I see my native land? I shall never forget my home. With your eyes closed, now let us fast forward to those Creole politicians who stake their lives, dignity, and resources in politics to represent us, whether they were successful or not. Mayor Cornelius May, Sir Henry Lightfoot Boston, Acuna Wallace Johnson, Herbert Bankole Bright, D.F. Shears, Reverend Etheldred Jones Lamina Sankor, Solomon Athanasius James Pratt, Abiose Davison Nicol, R.G.O. King, Hudson Taylor, Sir Samuel Lewis, Andrew Jackson Smith, Dr. John Augustus Abaomi Cole, Dr. June Rones, John Henry Malama Thomas, Chief Justice Christopher Okoro Cole, Archbishop Emin C.O. Scott. The list goes on and on. Now I want you to open your eyes. These were our political giants, on whose shoulders we stand. If for no other reasons, as Creoles, we have an awesome responsibility to make sure we uphold the legacy and integrity of our political giants. KDU, what would you tell those who put their lives in danger to keep the heritage and the culture that you celebrate today? Yes, I know. We Creoles are afraid of politics. As I speak, I feel the anti-political sentiments emanating from your pulses, the grimaces on your faces, and the caption phrase on your foreheads read, "Me no mix pan politics so." You are ready to lash back because you do not see yourself as political change agents. Well, the good thing is this is not up for a debate. It is your future. It is the future of the Krio Nation. Therefore, it is a message for you to reflect, dissect, digest, and act upon. Folks, the political structure have been used throughout history to affect major changes. We are a very strong political force in Sierra Leone. We do not realize the magnitude of our political might even without a political party or a political leader. Let us go on a journey to revisit some of our strengths. 1. The lingua franca is Creole. It is the conduit for all political parties to deliver their messages between tribes and within tribes and to bring all Sierra Leoneans together to communicate. For this reason, the Krio Nation would never die, and I repeat, will never die. Krio lives matter in Sierra Leone. 2. No political party, SLPP, APC, UPP, UPC, DPC, and all the PCs that would come and that are in place cannot win an election in Sierra Leone without the Creoles in Western area. History has shown us that to win majority seats in parliament, a political party must carry the Western area. Folks, Krio Nation, this is political power that we have, that we can use to address social justice issues for the Creoles, jobs, opportunities, education, and above all, the land issue in Sierra Leone. Why are we not using this to leverage what we as Creoles need? The answer is simply, I think it's a leadership and organizational structure. Well, now you have it. KDU now has that power. It has the organizational structure and with the leadership to go with it. KDU needs to leverage this political power in Freetown. We as Creoles can influence politics in many ways. We can sponsor candidates from different political parties to support our agenda in Parliament. Better yet, the Creoles can form a regional party that can offset the balance of power to form coalition government. We the Creoles have power and we should use it in the political realm in a peaceful way to affect change. And it is for this reason I say to you again, Krio lives matter, and Krio lives matter in Sierra Leone. My fellow Creoles, brothers and sisters of every tribe in Sierra Leone, do not underestimate the power of political movements to address social injustices and to affect social changes. You remember slavery in America? It ended. You remember civil rights and Martin Luther King in America? It changed. Do you remember Mandela and apartheid? It worked. Do you remember Nkrumah in Ghana? It changed. Do you remember Andrew Jackson Smith, the legacy in Freetown? It worked. Now, I want you to turn to the person to your right. And I want you to tell them, look at them and tell them, Krio lives matter. Say it again, Krio lives matter. I want you to turn to the person to your left. And I want you to do the same. And I want you to say to them again, Krio lives matter. And now I want you to look straight up. Look straight up to me and listen to me. And I want you to repeat after me. I am ready to make a change in Sierra Leone. I am ready to make a positive change in Sierra Leone. And if you're ready to make that, I want you all to raise your hands. And I want you to imagine you're seeing Freetown. I want you to imagine you're seeing Sierra Leone. Keep raising your hands, close your eyes until you feel it. And I want you to grab it. I want you to hold it. And I want you to just think about yourself as a change agent. I want you to see a peaceful Sierra Leone. I want you to see a Krio Nation building Sierra Leone. I want you to see Krio Nation eliminating corruption in Sierra Leone. I want you to see Krio Nation building education in Sierra Leone. I want you to see the Krio Nation transforming the political structure in Sierra Leone. I want you to bring it down. I want you to hold it. I want you to open your eyes. And I want you to pass it symbolically to the next person. And I want you to just give it to that person and look at them and say, yes, we can do it. Yes, we can change Sierra Leone. My fellow Creoles, sisters and brothers, nothing is impossible. We need to be united as one. With our Cabasnot, with our Kotoku, with our Trouslin, with our top hats, with our tailcoats, dressed in our danchiki, and with the glory of the number one, the incomparable Dr. Ologumbe's music leading us to Freetown. We must turn the tide of Creoles in Sierra Leone to a city as Dickens describes it, the best of times, the age of wisdom, the epoch of belief, the season of light, and the spring of hope. We want history to note that the Krio Nation was once a tale of two cities, but we, in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, under the leadership of KDU, rewrote history. On that glorious day, when we all the Creoles, we flew into Freetown from America, from Europe, from Canada, and the four corners of the globe, singing the song of our forefathers and mothers to change the tide of Creoles in Freetown. And together, I want you all to sing with me. Home again, home again. When shall I see my home? When shall I see my native land? I shall never forget my home. Creole lives matter. Creole lives matter in Sierra Leone. Thank you very much. God bless the Krio Descendant Association. God bless the Krio Descendant Union. God bless the Krio Nation. The United States of America, Canada, Europe, and Freetown, Sierra Leone, the four corners of the globe, for preparing us to go back to our beloved Sierra Leone to affect change for all, as Thomas Peters did some 232 years ago. God bless you and thank you.